moving sale. Oh, okay. Visitors welcome to the St. Paul's Church. Wow. It's like the equivalent of saying that walk-ins are welcome. Because there are some churches that are like, if you have associated with the church in some capacity, then they're not really welcome there. I mean, they're not going to just like outright be like, hey, leave. But they're going to question you. They're going to be like, why are you here? What are you looking for? They're going to recommend other churches. Um, so, I mean, it's good. It's a good place to start. If you don't know where to go to church at, you just like walk into one and they're going to be like either very accepting and then you're going to realize, oh, this is not the place for me, so then you change. Or they're very accepting and you like it and you stay. Or they're like, hey, there's this church and they have this, and I think you and your family would be interested in that, so then you would like move on to that church, people like asking you to hang out. But it's all politics. What's like interesting is that there's like 18 and up comedy clubs and stuff. But there's not for children. Like people are like worried about drag shows and stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't like this kid. It's Wally right there. They called that man a kid. That was like this schooler. I don't go this way, but I will. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, church. Now it's all politics. It's like insane is that you have all of these. This is completely off topic, but you have all of these like restaurants or like fast food places that have food that's literally killing you, and people know this. This isn't like something we don't know. Like we've been told this a long time ago. So I think we need to start like changing it. And people who are against that, who are like against positive change, I don't understand them. But we have the infrastructure and the systems, all the mechanisms in place, the machinery, the manpower, all of that to create things. Something like if you have a factory that can make peanut butter crackers, like why does it need to put in chemicals that are going to kill people? It doesn't make any sense. So, like if the factories started using chemicals that are good for people, that would be good. We live in a capitalistic society at this time and in this place. Therefore, the way to inspire change on that level requires capital. The issue that it means that most people don't have that. It's a very rare thing to have. For me personally, coming out of poverty and like going back into poverty, like even deeper than I was before, that's kind of rough, I guess. But you see it for what it is because you've seen it your whole life. You know what I mean? Like as a child, you see it and you're like, oh, that's normal. Like that house looks like that. It's always looked like that. And like it's not such a shock. But then whenever you get older and you start to realize like, oh, this is dangerous, that is dangerous, this is like old and outdated and all that, you start to realize that like a lot of our infrastructure, like when it comes to housing and factories, it's all just like crumbling in. Like the only thing that we really have that's new, I guess, would be like the stores, right? But like we're still using the same old like plastic packaging and like, oh, it's BPA free, that's good, but what if we could like not use toxic oil to create plastics, to make anything, that we can just make the other materials. You know what I mean? Like, we have the ability to make anything that we want, pretty much. Like, we're basically alchemists, and we just use it to poison each other. Like, I don't understand that. Like, what is it? Like a population control thing? Like, they're trying to kill off as many people as possible. Like, and that could be true because our population size has gotten quite large. So, me personally, I try to avoid all of that stuff, but at the same time, like, I understand the mind frame that like a normal person has. That's like, I mean, it's food safe, like it's food regulated. Like they, like, I was talking about like organic one time with this person who was an agriculture major, and it was like so interesting because she's like, I was telling her like, I was like, yeah, I try to like buy organic and stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, but like the toxicity in organic is actually higher than normal one, and then the toxicity in like normal stuff is so low that like it doesn't even matter. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a really good point. So, then I start thinking about it, and then I'm just like, well, I'm gonna stick to the organic, because if you follow that line of logic, that like, yeah, there's poison, but not enough to hurt you, it's safe for them to sell it to you, so therefore it's safe for you to eat it, then you can follow that same logic with the organics. It's like, okay, yeah, it's more than the non-organic, but it's still safe to eat because of it's food safety regulations. It's made it through that process. And the thing is, it's like that process is inadequate, and food has always been adulterated. Food has always been like messed with, and I think people are starting to realize this, and they're like, oh my god, there's wood chips in the Cheetos. Like, I remember as a kid, my uncle and his wife had a kid, and they were like, we're gonna be healthy, and like, we're gonna feed our kid healthy foods, and we're gonna buy products and stuff that isn't like super toxic. They found this website that has all of these great brands of stuff that's like natural baby stuff, so like, and this kid grew up a very healthy lifestyle. Unlike me, I was on like McDonald's and like Walmart grade shampoo. It's just like this whole different time of like, they were more educated than my parents were, and they only waited like a short amount of time after my dad had me. Like, because I was probably like 9 or 10 when this kid was born. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but like, I was a little bit like older. Like, we're not close in the same age, so yeah, like, he's a kid still. Like, if I had to guess, he's probably in like 4th grade. Like, I have no idea if that's accurate. Like, but I know he's definitely not at a driving age. My other cousins are legally adults now, and they still act and talk like 7-year-olds. But yeah, just like, it's so odd. And like, even parents who are having kids today, there's like a lot of them that still like, they do the same thing that like we've been doing for generations, feeding our kids red dye number 40 and yellow dye number 7, or whatever the fucking numbers are. Just like all these chemicals, like, if you look into it, like, what is that? Like, it's not always what you want to hear, I guess. And then like, you could always say, well, it's conspiracy theories, potentially on some of them, I guess. But one thing that really stuck out to me in my high school formative years was a teacher gave us this article to read about yellow dye being toxic, I guess. Anyways, and that always really stuck out to me. So, I feel like the more educated we are as a society, the better choices we can make. However, it's like there's something that keeps it going, I guess. Or like, why did it start in the first place? Why were they like, this toxic substance should be in things that people eat and drink. And it's just like, I understand that, like, sometimes there's infrastructure problems or whatever, but a lot of times it's literally just them, like, adulterating the food, which we've done since, like, the beginning of, like, food, I guess. I don't know. But it's interesting that we haven't figured it out yet. Like, everything that we put into the food needs to be good, because it's like you need to look at it from the perspective of, if you work at one of these companies, yeah, you're just like one piece of a machine. So I mean, like, if we were to like have any kind of ability to make change, then you should, you know. And I feel like as a customer, I probably have more of an ability to make change by emailing these companies and telling them, hey, I would like for you to source better ingredients, or, you know, like, find a company that does something this way, or like find this that is like a sustainable alternative to that, and like make them an option in your store, or just, you know, all these different things to inspire people, but also like give them the information that they need. Like, I think that's a lot of the block right now, is that we have the internet. Sure, we have all of the information at the tip of our fingers. We can look up anything. We can like ask Google or Alexa or whatever you use any question pretty much, and you'll get an answer. You know, so it's like, if you just continuously learn as a person, you start to realize that, like, after a certain like point, that you start to realize like what's actually happening. Like, you're no longer just like living in the world and like driving on the roads and like doing your job or whatever, but like you're seeing the world for what it is. You're like looking at what are the trees and like the species of animals and plants that are all around. Like, what are they? Because that is part of the ecosystem. That is a part of us. Like, that's a part of what is keeping us alive. You know what I mean? Like, it's really interesting if you start to pay attention to it, and like you start to notice that like the birds talk to you and the squirrels interact with you, and like everything is like existing at the same time. And we think, oh, we're just like in a bubble in the, you know, cities and our houses and our clothes and our vehicles. We're not like the animals. We have language and like technology and all this stuff, and like we've created civilization. Fair, okay, sure. It is definitely strange, our behavior and how it has evolved into what it has, like. But I mean, this the fact that there's consciousness. Like, where does it all begin? Like all of it is so confusing, right? So, I think like nature is such a big part of it. People forget about it, and I try my hardest. Like, I try to like get seeds and like spread different kind of seeds in different places. You know, I've been thinking like the fact that I'm a DoorDasher, I can probably like get away with planting seeds in people's yard, because that would be a lot of like spreading stuff, you know. So that would be interesting, because it would cost us some money, which is why I'm not doing it currently. But it is something I could work up to. So, you know, for now, I'm just trying to save money. I'm just trying to like get the essentials done, you know, like car maintenance and stuff. Like, I got to get an oil change. At some point, I'm like over 1,000 miles past needing an oil change, because I drive so much. And it was like, you're about to need an oil change. And I was like, okay. And then I finished working that day, and I didn't have time, so I just like worked like the next morning, and then I was like, oh yeah, I still need to get an oil change. So it's like, you're past your oil change. And then I went there today, and they're like closed. So I'll have to find somewhere else to go, which is like super obnoxious. It's not even like a day they be closed, unless it's like a holiday I don't know about. I don't know. So, or maybe it was just too early. Like, I don't know. So I gotta like find somewhere that'll do it. And then I think I need like a filter changed. But yeah, like I just need to get that car maintenance taken care of. That way I can like continue to work and then get car insurance because I don't have that yet. It freaking lapsed, and now I have to pay $700 a month instead of $550. So that's just fucking great. And then I'm like, I'm trying to make more money. So if I get Uber Eats, which I need car insurance before I can get Uber Eats, then I can get more money. I've also considered like traveling out of state for DoorDash because I've heard they make more money in other states. So I've considered that. The highest paying state is California, obviously. However, I'm not going to drive that far to go deliver like food. So that's probably a no. A closer destination would be like Colorado. That's something I heard about. This girl worked there, and she does like, so do you do by time or by order? Which one makes you more money? And I was like, oh yeah, by time, definitely. She's like, oh, because I go by order, but I noticed when I got here, it was like not making me as much money. But I'm from Colorado, so I just do like by order when I'm there in Colorado. And I was like, oh, damn. Well, yeah, I want to do Uber Eats. And she's like, yeah, or you can do like Amazon Flex. And I'm like, oh, what's that? So she starts telling me about it, how to apply to it. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then I've been thinking about that. So it's just like, I gotta get like my shit together, basically. Because like I have bills coming up. I have a little bit of money, but I also have to get car insurance. And so that's the thing is like, what do I do? Like I have to pay these bills, but I also have to get car insurance. But I also, it's just like, it goes on. It's a whole like rabbit hole. So, for it to be 700, it's like 750 a month. That's ridiculous. Like I couldn't even pay the 550 a month. That's why it lapsed. Because I couldn't even afford it in the first place. So now they're like asking for more money. It's nauseating. Like I feel like we use capitalism in such a stupid way. Like it should be centered around like human well-being and not around. I'm not even sure what it is centered around right now. It feels like the occult is leading it or some shit, which is completely possible. So yeah, I mean, I just need the car insurance. I hate it. I hate it so much. How much everything costs and how little money I make. I've been making a little bit more money this month just because I'm on like DoorDash's good side, basically, where like I'm like a top dasher, so I get like super high priority, like high paying customers, and I get like all the stuff. So lots and lots of orders, like just back to back. Like as soon as I get into an area to work, it's like order after order. It just keeps going. And so I'm making a lot of money and haven't taken any breaks or anything. Usually I take the weekend off. I haven't done that in a little while. So I'm just going to continuously just like keep working and not taking any long-term breaks or anything. Like anytime I can get an order, I'm going to get it. Hopefully, I'll make enough money to make up for the fact that next month I'm not going to be the top priority because I've already like really messed up this month. Like, so I earned it from last month and did perfect. And this month I get it. So I'm getting a lot more orders. So that means I've had to cancel on some of them because I was like, no, I don't want it. Like, I don't want to take that much stuff or, just like whatever reason. So I opt out of it and that kind of drops me out of it for next month. So I have this whole month I can work and I'm like getting orders back to back and then making more money. And then next month it goes back to normal, but I have, the whole month to like earn it back. So that would be good if I could do that. And also if I could get, fucking car insurance so I can get Uber Eats and hopefully make money off of that as well. And then, if I could get like, monetized on YouTube, that would be awesome. Or I don't know, like how I really want to handle that situation because I mean my YouTube channel clearly is not blowing up in any capacity. Like I get a few views here and there, but I'm not really sure if it's just because I haven't been discovered yet or if it's because like I don't know. It could be because I haven't been discovered yet, or it could just be like the content is not what people want to watch. I feel like it's good content. I feel like across my channels, it's good content, and that's kind of why I'm like experimenting with this right now. With the whole like the podcast, not podcast, like diary journal slash driving at the same time, because I mean, a lot of times people talk to their friends in the car, they talk on the phone, they have a friend with them, they whatever. So I mean, it's not like I'm texting or holding my phone or anything. The fact that it's videoing is just like it's videoing like a dash cam. So I do that a lot anyways. It's just now I'm also talking out loud instead of just like thinking in my head. So a lot of times like it doesn't necessarily make sense because I am focusing also on driving, which means like get distracted on what I'm talking about, because obviously driving is more important. Like yeah. So what's interesting is I feel like this next generation of workers needs to know this information when it comes to like pollution and toxicity and all of this stuff in the schools. I'm not sure if they're good at teaching this or not, so I'm not gonna like make any comment about it. However, in my experience, I just felt super overwhelmed, and I still feel overwhelmed because I feel like if I can't single-handedly fix this, then it's never gonna get fixed. I also feel like everybody else is like against me in some way. Like I kind of feel like this is why there's no progress being made. It's because people just don't want progress, and a lot of times maybe it's just because nobody has actually like thought about it, and a lot of people just kind of accept things for what it is, and they don't really think about like, oh, this is toxic, and it's not like causing any like effect in the moment, so they just go on about their lives, and everybody associates like old age with dying. I don't think that old age causes dying. I don't know, but like what I do think is over time, as you get exposed to all of these different toxins, like in the air, in the water, in the food, everything we touch, you become more and more likely to have something wrong with you, right? It's like being in a dangerous place. You're gonna get injured eventually, but maybe not, and maybe with science, a lot of stuff could be negated, reversed, healed, whatever. So, medicine in the state that it's at, it feels kind of like it feels like the medical field is like strapped down to a bed right now, is what it feels like. And they're like trying everything to just continue to function without like feeling like you're dying, right? So it's interesting because they want to help people, right? You've got the workers that want to help people, the nurses and stuff. I've met these people, the doctors even. They genuinely want to help people. The corruption comes in money. So like obviously toxic things are going to be cheaper, right? They're toxic. They're not as valuable. They're not valued. Nobody would, want that. So it's cheap. Okay. But since it's cheap, that's what it's bought to be used to make things. Okay, this is a system we've been using for a while now. We need to start fixing this system because it isn't necessary. People, have this deterministic point of view when it comes to capitalism, and they have this very rigid look of like capitalism is forever, and this is what capitalism is. It is corruption, okay? But here's the thing: understand where what corruption is, where it's coming from, and why it's happening. Okay, so we have these materials that are much cheaper because they're toxic. So they're being sold to make things that are affordable. That should not be how the economy works. And if we change the structure of it, that scares people. they'll start calling it socialism, communism, whatever, right? And they're gonna have all these negative ideas. Okay, so the thing is that a lot of people don't realize is that you can have capitalism operate in different ways. It's like a machine. It's like we're all a part of this collective agreement of these rules and how we're going to act. But people don't understand the rules. They do. So that's super important. Why are you flashing lights at me? Wait. I can't. Okay, it looks like they're flashing lights at me. But, maybe not. So, what I was talking about was like corruption and where that comes from. So, okay, what if we changed it? Right? Like, what if we changed it? So we want to use capitalism in a way that benefits everybody, in a humanistic way that nobody gets hurt kind of way. Alright? So if we're going to consider this thing that we're in as kind of like a machine, robots have a rule. They're not allowed to hurt humans. But corporations, companies, factories, workplaces, they are not required to not hurt people. It's more of an expectation of people won't hurt themselves on it. You know, playground equipment used to be super dangerous because when we first started building the concrete jungle, we had to teach kids how to be safe in these environments because that's where they're going to be working at as adults. And so if they don't have these skills and they get out there and they're on a skyscraper trying to weld and they've never been on a skyscraper before, that would be intimidating, right? But it would be nice if they had some practice on being on some super high monkey bars, so if they fall there, they're not gonna die. They might break their leg. Yeah, a lot of those things were super high, and yeah, if you land the wrong way, you'll fucking die. But they were teaching kids how to operate in the concrete jungle. I remember as a kid watching this TV show about these kids that played in their treehouse. It's a cartoon. It's Kids Next Door or something, and they're all neighbors, and they share this treehouse. Damn, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, one of the episodes, they have to go through this playground type thing where there's all these monkey bars, and it's really confusing, and it's almost maze-like, and it gets into this really deep, it's they're in the city, and that's kind of how we got that culture of monkey bars and stuff. It's from the city, so you're teaching kids in all of these different formats about that, video games is another way. A lot of people look at Grand Theft Auto and they're oh, that's so corrupt, why would you teach kids about these horrible things and let a child go to a strip club with a video game? I don't know. I played it as a kid. Everybody played it as a kid. We did it behind our parents' backs. Nobody was but that's just another example of how kids are taught about life. And so we grow up thinking, okay, this stuff is normal. You know what I mean? The streets are normal. The buildings are normal. All of this is so normal. We see it in the movies. We see it in our real life. But the thing is, it is not normal. And for me, coming from the country, I see this and I'm this is so bizarre to me. The thicker the city gets, the more I get into any city really, but especially big cities, it really trips me out because it's wow, there's just a lot of stuff on top of each other, and there's a lot of people, and that's a big difference. So I think that's one of the problems is that we are overpopulated. So it's is that why they're putting poison in everything, or they're just letting it slide because, well, yeah, it's cheaper, yada yada yada. but it's killing people. I mean, so like, is that the point? Like, is that what they're trying to do? And that isn't necessarily a conspiracy theory, is it? That's, I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, like, as a society, like, okay, we need to make these changes. Sure, like, we need to come together and like reformulate the rules, and that's gonna make incredible changes. Because I mean, yeah, like tearing up the infrastructure we already have to replace it, that would be pointless. But every day I'm seeing houses go up. I'm seeing all this stuff being built. Like there's homelessness is at like an all-time high, and you have adult children living at home. There's a housing crisis, and I go into these neighborhoods and I see the people who do have houses. They are very old, outdated, dangerous, unsanitary conditions in many cases. And then there's the new houses, the brand new houses. Those are expensive. Not everybody can afford those. And another thing that people don't talk about, I guess, because we talk about pristine. Like if you see a bug in someone's YouTube video, people freak the hell out. Like that happened to the Slayton sisters. But like, if you got like, I don't know, like toxic stuff. Like if you're like drinking soda, like people are like, okay, whatever. Like you're drinking energy drinks, people are like, okay, whatever. Like they don't care about that. Like they don't care about like that kind of thing. So it's aesthetic. So when it comes to these new houses, they're like, oh, it's great, like for family, like I don't know, like there's a lot of people who realize like trailer houses and stuff are pretty toxic, so try to stay out of those. But still, that's like there's an entire group of people that still live in that environment. You got people, like there's this whole class of people that's coming in below that environment in like RVs and cars. People like me that are like almost living on the street, but like not quite. Like we're homeless, but we're not like on the street. You know what I mean? And so you have these issues, and it's like the Great Depression. But like you look at the pictures of the Great Depression, and I've always thought, so the issue is everybody has to live on the street because they didn't have houses. So we build houses, right? That's the answer. But everybody is like, oh, worried about the money and the economy and this and that. What the only other concern I have is, besides like the houses and the overpopulation, global warming or like climate change. Because we're gonna start seeing drought and floods. It's not gonna be this nice, beautiful balance of rain and this perfect water cycle of these ecosystems that can thrive. No, it's going to be drought and flood, sand, dust, dirt, mud, death, heat. That's it. It's going to be cold at night, and it's going to be hot during the day. There's not going to be much life. This is already happening. We call it desertification, deforestation, progress in some places to build houses for these like families, right? Well, what are we gonna do? We all gonna live like in a camper, in a car, in a tent? Hell no. We need to start making like materials safe. Like I see these encampments and stuff, and my biggest issues I have with them is health, right? I'm worried about their sanitation, the situation of like, do they have access to a bathroom? Are they leaving dirty needles everywhere? Are they eating food with clean hands? Are they able to wash their hands? Like, are they able to shower? Are they wearing clean clothes? Like, what is their situation? Like, are they lying on the dirty ass ground? That's what I want to know, right? Like, and that's the things I want to start to like address, because I feel like we can. Okay, in a throwaway society, everything is so cheap, but when it comes to the fucking like homeless population, we think throwing a sandwich in a plastic bag is like calling it a day, or like a plastic bottle of water is like great. I'm not saying I haven't done those cheap things to help homeless people. Typically what I do is I give them like food, like because I do DoorDash. So if someone's not there to get the order, I give it away. Or if they want to cancel the order, the DoorDash tells me to give it to somebody who's like, I don't remember the phrasing that they use, but they say you can dispose of it or you can give it to somebody, because they have to say, to dispose of it, but they also give you that option. Like, hey, like, they're trying to encourage you to be a kind person. So I think that's good. Good on DoorDash, you know. But you know, I've gotten stuff because somebody wanted to give me a tip in food, and that's like a sweet idea, like that's cool or whatever. But I'm so picky in my diet that I'm like, I really don't want that food. So I just give it away to someone who's like, because, you know, it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna eat it. So I had one person try to tip me with food, and they gave me 2 sliders from Arby's. So I gave it to a homeless person. And then another person canceled because they didn't give me the right address. And then they got frustrated. And then somebody wasn't there to like get it because they were like working and they refused to come on side. And I was like, you know, like I'm not just gonna stand here and just like wait, you know. So I gave them ample time to come get their food, and they didn't. So I gave it away to somebody with a sign who's like needs food or whatever. So. And then, yeah, I mean, I just like, I don't know. You know, but all these things are cheap. Like, even like the fast food and stuff is cheap. It's like plastic bags. You know, just everything in it is just cheap. Right, okay, so we need to fix it. We need to fix that. And see, the thing is, like, these materials are cheap, which makes it affordable, which means people can have it. So it's like, okay, because it's toxic, we have more of it because it costs less. What if we change that? Like, what if we made things that are toxic expensive and things that are healthy affordable, right? Like, the government is subsidizing meat, and that's connected to a lot of health issues, and it helps like our fast food restaurants peddle out garbage. But what if the government subsidized healthy food, like not just subsidized fruits and vegetables, because then, I mean, that can obviously be made into things that are not healthy, but like subsidize them in like whole form. You know, like, wouldn't it be nice to go to McDonald's and get a salad that's big and delicious and nutritious and made for you and in packaging that isn't going to kill you, and it's just like 50 cents? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we do that? We can do that. We've proven that we can do these things on a mass scale. We can make these things, and we can make super complicated things out of it, like chicken nuggets and like burgers. I think a salad, you know, is so much easier. And that's kind of black and white thinking, like, okay, salad's good. I'm just saying, government needs to start like subsidizing the correct things, and money needs to start being monetized on the correct things. Like, we say, okay, we value our health, so, you know, healthy things are going to be more expensive. I think that's backwards. I think it should be, we value our health, therefore expensive things, or like, you know, unhealthy things should be expensive. Kind of like, I don't want to go straight here. Kind of like the tax, what is it, on cigarettes? Is it called a sin tax or something? But like, not just taxes, because that like obviously doesn't work. It's just on cigarettes. And there's also taxes like all over the place for like junk food. That doesn't replace what's on the shelf. So we need to start replacing like what's on the shelf. And the only way we're gonna do that is by contributing monetarily to like small like startup companies and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they have good ethics, like, we need to contribute to that. And that does 2 things. It helps that individual company grow. It also shows the market what people are wanting to buy. parking lot's nice and it's lots of trees. Like, what if? Like, what if all of our vapes and cigarettes were healthy for us, and all of our food was like non-toxic, edible? Isn't that crazy? You have to ask that. And like, I guess in a way, like I accepted my vape as most people have. There are plenty of days where I go to Taco Bell and get some fast food. I've had many sodas in my life. In fact, I'm having my second energy drink right now. But coffee because of my vape. It's like I make these bad choices because even if I don't make bad choices, bad things are still happening to my body. I'm still breathing in toxic air from the cars and drinking toxic water from. I think the sewage is like the main issue with the water. We don't know how to process sewage. I think we need to stop relying on water as much for that process. I'm sure there's solutions. Right, so there's like no good options, right? Because all of the food is toxic, all of the packaging is toxic. We've known this for so long. So what do? Go into denial, not do anything about it, or try to do something about it. I want like a rock climbing gym membership. Yeah, what would be. Me, personally, I email people, I talk to companies, I tell them what we want, what I want, I talk about it on social media, try to get other people talking and thinking about it. A lot of people are in their comfort zone and they're like, well, I like this brand, I like this thing. So you gotta like switch it up, I guess.